got kicked out of that live, and it's just bad. So the devil is busy, and you got to remember worship is widespread, and you just never know who could be listening, even on YouTube. So this will be part two. Okay, so go listen to part one. However, this is part two. So I can't go over everything that I've discussed in part one. However, I'm doing a reaction to the paternity court video. So I will be leaving off exactly where I left off of part one. Okay. Fair use, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Mr. Seymour?
No.
No, he took the ring back.
Who stepped up? You said you were at the hospital.
Yeah.
You stepped up.
She gave me a phone call, like probably I think her mom gave me a phone call.
That's why you were there.
Her mom gave me a phone call stating that, Nana's about to have a baby. Is she coming down here or not? I said, yeah, hell, I'm on the way. I was chilling straight down
Don't
there.
try to make it seem like we just called you as a desperate call, because you were the one that was calling me for weeks. I was supposed to be induced.
Man.
I didn't even have my baby on. I had him on the same day that my expected due date was. And I said, hey, Jim, are you going to come down here for the baby shower? He was like, yeah, I'm on. You spent the night with me that night. They gave me the thing in my bag.
I spent 3 days.
Yeah.
And just to recap, I expressed that from my perspective and from what I know, Dwayne Seymour introduced Miss Romella's into satanic worship. Okay, you got to go watch part one. And the gentleman, Jeremy Covington, the one that's sitting by the judge, he did not introduce Miss Romella's into that. And my whole point of doing a reaction on this, you got to go watch part one. The whole point of doing a reaction on this is so that you can understand how tragic worshiping the devil or getting into voodoo or satanic worship, how deadly it can be for not just you, your family members. Okay, please like, share, and subscribe, y'all.
Yeah, you spent the
And you
whole
kicked me
day.
out of the hospital too. See, that's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm saying. But I'm the father of this child. Why am I
Wait a
kicked out of the
minute.
hospital?
Hold on. You sitting here now arguing at Mr. Covington because he wasn't being a good enough father and he didn't come to the hospital and it wasn't a desperate call and he didn't do this, but you brought Mr. Seymour to court because you said he's the father.
Exactly.
I'm the one with the money. I'm sure.
So to creativity, ooh, thank you so much. Yeah, hello to let me read this here. To Chicken Lord, and then Cudacy, hello. Welcome to the live. So y'all gotta go watch part one. But what happened was I got kicked out of the live. So part one is very essential. So if you wanna, and I'll put that in the description box below. But basically, this is covering how to understand when there's a situation where someone has been introduced to satanic worship, the occult, and demonic teachings for financial gains and stuff like that. So you got to go watch part one. I was kicked out of the live. And so, yeah, it's very real, Professor Linux. Very, very real. So you got to go watch part one. You don't have to watch it right now, but you can just, you'll get the complete understanding of what I'm saying here if you go watch part one. And it ended up being a part one because it kicked me out of the live, which is probably a good thing because y'all came in here. So thank you so much for the like. So part one is very interesting, and this one's going to be interesting too. But basically, Mr. Seymour got Miss Romella's into satanic worship, and it was worded like this. She stated that it was like he gave her financial and spiritual guidance, but it's not holy. It's not holy. It's not a heavenly Lord that he's speaking about. So that's what happened.
I wasn't sure, so
You wasn't sure, so you just buttering both sides of your bread just in case. To make sure you get attention over here. He might be the father. Oh no, you might be the father.
And then it's like I grew up without my father, so I want this child to have a father into his life. So it's like I can't do that if he ain't gonna be a father and I'm gonna be the father. At the end of the day, it's only gonna be one father, and I want to know who the father is.
You've invested a lot of time in this child.
Yes, ma'am.
What have you done?
Clothes, shoes, Pampers. Spend time with him 2-3 weeks at a time since he been born.
And you spend time with the baby?
Yeah, he come over my house. She'll let me. That's one thing I can't say. She let me get the child on doing because I work during the weekdays, so on the weekend I get him. Sometimes I keep him 2-3 weeks, send him back to her.
Mr. Seymour, are you involved in the child's life as well?
If you need full dentures but can't deal with
And this is a commercial, y'all. This denture stuff look pretty good. So yeah, I'll just put this down in the comments. But yeah.
the endless expensive dentist visits,
Ignore this commercial, y'all. You know how they come up.
you need to see this. I used to hide my
You involved in the child's life as well?
Somewhat, because we live together.
Oh, so okay, so you live together. So when the child is with Ms. Romellis,
And this is really dangerous because the gentleman that introduced her to the satanic worship, and you got to go look at part 1. I talk about my gift and stuff like that I've had since I was a child. So the devil worshiper is living in her house. Now the good man that's sitting up there by the judge, Mr. Covington, he's not living in the house with Miss Romellis. So so you got this, so he has this Mr. Seymour, he's teaching her very demonic things, which is going to end up leading into a very bad outcome.
child is with Ms. Romellis, he's with you.
Yes, ma'am. Like you said, I grew up without a father too, and I feel like it ain't right for any child to grow up without a father.
Bottom line is, Ms. Romellis, you are in a position where neither one of these men knows whether or not they are.
And just because he sounds like he's concerned about a child not growing up with the father does not mean he's not into satanic worship. You know, we just got to become more aware with these situations. Everybody that's speaking good, y'all, that doesn't mean that they not into very demonic stuff. He can say that he don't want this child to not have a father. He want to make sure the child have a father. He can say that, and as soon as he leave his courtroom, go back to his hotel room and worship the devil some more. So you gotta stop being blinded. Fortunately, I have my gift, so I can know that what he's saying is bullshit. But a lot of times, if y'all are not utilizing what the Lord gave you as well, you won't understand, or you just will ignore. Some of y'all will be like, when she first said that he was giving her spiritual and financial guidance, some of y'all can feel the energy of that. Like, that's kind of weird. You know, you might in your body and soul feel some kind of weirdness when she said that in part 1. But I'm explaining to you why you feeling it. So you won't, you can be more aware, because, y'all, we going to meet people, different type of people, and we want to be aware, okay?
They are definitively the child's father. So you work in each angle, like you do this and you do that, and then you do this and you do that, because you just don't understand who the real father is.
But that's not even the point, because
that is the point. Hold on. No. One thing you're not gonna do, you might be able to out-talk him.
And Mrs. Lauren Lake, the paternity court judge, this lady's just very toxic to her, right? And Miss Romellis. So, she's sending Mrs. Lauren Lake, the paternity court judge, she has very good instinct. She's very seasoned. She's very experienced. So she knows that this lady's very toxic, okay? So she's sending Judge Lauren Lake off the deep end here. The judge can't take her.
To manipulate them, but you can't do it to me. That is the point. The point is,
and they're consistently calling Miss Romelis manipulative, and Judge Lauren Lake is not the first one to call her that. Mr. Covington, the gentleman that's sitting by the judge, is calling her that as well. And remember, I'll be putting this video in the description box, so you'll get to see the whole video as well. Okay?
and why you're standing here is because you ran from this one to go to this one, then you ran back from this one back to this one. Now that the baby is born, you're still doing the same thing. It's obvious. You somebody's mother. Thank goodness you walked yourself up in here today so you can get the.
And remember that statement, she's somebody's mother, because I will be going over what happened. Remember that statement, she's somebody's mother. You can't be somebody's mother and start worshiping the devil because you meet some weird dude. So part of not getting into satanic worship and then in the occult and not getting into voodoo is because you are somebody's mother. Because you are somebody's mother and you got children to take care of, you should not be entertaining, getting involved with, or being a part of satanic stuff at all. So just remember, Judge Lauren Lake told Miss Romelis that she's somebody's mother. That's going to be a very key point when y'all hear what ended up happening. It's horrible.
The truth.
Please.
Not just for your sake and their sake, but for his sake. He deserves it. Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
There you go, Judge.
Jerome is handsome, y'all. The security on Judge Lauren Lake.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Romelis versus Seymour Covington, when it comes to the paternity of Ocaria Covington.
And remember that name, Ocaria, y'all. So he's a little boy. That's the little boy that they're trying to determine if either one of these gentlemen, whether it be Mr. Covington or Mr. Seymour. So Ocaria, remember his name, y'all, because you're going to hear about him later, okay? And keep in mind, when I put this video in the description box, this video was actually 13 to 15 years ago, but it was uploaded 3 years ago. It was re-uploaded 3 years ago on paternity court. So just keep that in mind. Remember, you could be watching a paternity court video and it say 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but that doesn't mean that that's when the original video was. So just keep that in mind. You can upload a video from 20 years ago.
Just remember Jerome, the bald man, right?
Yeah.
Just remember he killed his wife.
Jerome, no, he didn't.
He did.
You
Look it up.
On paternity court?
On paternity court.
Or the other man?
That's the bald man.
No,
right?
come here, Daniel.
He's the bald man, right?
Yeah, come on in here.
Oh, right.
Come in the studio.
Oh, okay.
So Daniel's saying that Jerome killed his wife.
Hey, he murdered his wife.
He did?
Yeah, yes.
Not the other security guard?
No, Jerome.
Jerome?
The black bald man.
No, he's white.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other Jerome. That
I only knew one Jerome on paternity court.
I guess she used the same name but different security.
So it was a black man?
Yep.
I never knew it was a black man on there
Yep.
on paternity court. So I gotta confirm this. You got some.
Nope, but you can do the research.
When you do the research, Jerome murdered. So it wasn't the white Jerome.
Nope.
Okay, so Daniel is saying that please respect my live, gentlemen.
Excuse
You
me.
can't be coming here belching in the live, man. We gotta have some class here. Yeah, so Daniel is my son Daniel is saying that Daniel, let me show you something here. So when you close it, don't make the noise.
Okay.
Yeah, so just close it softly, okay? Because this is somewhat of a makeshift studio, y'all. So wow, so it's not the white Jerome. So the Jerome that I was just saying was handsome, I guess is not the security guard that was securing guarding the courtroom, okay, for Judge Lauren Lake. So yeah.
Mr. Seymour, you are not the father.
Thank God the devil worshiper is not the father of Akaria, but the problem is he's in the house with Akaria. And she got this man that's taught her the satanic occult and got him in the house. It's not good. Okay. So the commenter that Salagria with Jesus Christ. Nah, he ain't worried about no Jesus Christ. This man has taught her the satanic occult, and I taught how in part 1, you gotta go watch part 1, how she says that Mr. Seymour was teaching her like financial and spiritual things. So he was teaching her the occult, the satanic occult. And of course, it ain't got nothing to do with Jesus Christ, what he teaching her. And it's going to lead deadly. So just tune in. Thank you so much for the like, and just listen to how bad it got.
Please.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the case of Romelis versus Seymour Covington, when it comes to the paternity of Akario Covington, Mr. Covington, you.
If you have dementia, never take Exelon in the
I'm sorry, y'all. This is the commercial.
morning. Almost no one knows this, but Alzheimer's and dementia have way less to...
I can speak on that. Alzheimer's and dementia has a lot to do with not using your cognitive thinking skills. And that's why a YouTube channel is very important. Because when you create content, you're constantly using your cognitive thinking skills, and it can actually prevent dementia and Alzheimer's. People get dementia and Alzheimer's, they don't use their brain enough. Your brain is like a muscle. You need to use it, and the more you think, the stronger your brain will get. I didn't say stress it out, but just utilize it, okay? And you do that through hobbies, athletics, reading, doing videos, YouTube channels, acting, being at your job. You're using your cognitive thinking skills. I don't care if your job is just you're a cashier at the local McDonald's. Being a cashier, you're using your cognitive thinking skills. So, and then staying off all kind of weird medications. A lot of overuse of prescription drugs will make you have dementia. So I just thought I would throw that in there, okay?
When it comes to the paternity of Akario Covington, Mr. Covington, you are not father.
So the holy man and the good man that does believe in Jesus Christ and the one most high in heaven, he is not the father, which in this case is a good thing. Okay, it's a blessing that he is not her child's father. Okay, for his sake. Okay.
Seriously?
Seriously.
What?
I know you're surprised. Have a seat.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
Oh,
That has to be somewhat wrong. So I'm
Now
not.
the devil worshiper, Mr. Seymour, he's laughing and doing that old demonic smirk. But Mr. Covington, the one that believes in the one most high, he's actually, his reaction is more congruent with the situation, and he's going to be very sad. Okay, so listen, y'all.
Somewhat wrong.
something
Yes,
all
it
the
has
way
to be
wrong.
wrong.
What? 2 years?
Let me tell you something. Men lie, women lie,
Gnomes don't.
DNA.
Oh,
It don't lie.
Well, that's a lie.
Oh,
because I had
Mr. Covington, bad news.
Miss Romelis does not believe the DNA test, but later she's going to say that it was another person. But for right now, she's acting like the fact that neither one of these two men is Ocario's father. She's acting like that that it ain't real, but it is.
Pretty much knocked you out your seat.
Oh, yeah, that just really, man. Got him tearing up.
Ms. Romelis.
And Mr. Covington, he's crying. Mr. Jeremy Covington, the spiritual good man, the God-fearing man, he's crying and not laughing at her and all that stuff. So he has more of a holy reaction to this. Now the devil worshiper, Mr. Seymour, he over there doing that old demonic smile, and ain't none of this funny. It's very sad because the child is affected the most, and the child will be affected the most later due to what she got into. So just imagine, these paternity court situations, they turn tragic later. So tune in, y'all, because y'all gonna hear how bad this is. Very bad. This is just the beginning of the rodeo. This video was 13 to 15 years ago, but the video itself was uploaded again 3 years ago. Okay.
Do you have any idea?
I had sex with them. I didn't have sex with anybody else.
Well,
So
she's lying. She did have sex with someone else. That's why the DNA test is saying neither one of these men is Ocario's father.
I don't know what you all.
Well,
it must be.
hey,
unfortunately,
I don't know.
Oh, man.
The entire courtroom
What?
knows that that is a lie. You two men, you all gonna have to step up to the plate,
I'm still going to continue to do my part, though, man.
and that's what I
Yeah,
want.
Mr. Covington, he got a real heart of God, y'all. The one most high in heaven. Mr. Covington, he's very good spirited. He's the total opposite of the devil worshiper.
What you to say?
That hurt.
I don't need you to. I really don't need you to.
It ain't going to hurt me, though, to look into it.
Hold on.
I really don't.
And she's saying she don't need Mr. Covington. Of course she's going to reject what's good because the man that's living with her, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, is teaching her all that demonic crap. So she's telling Mr. Covington she don't need him. But it's just her choice of her supply source, her being a narcissist, she's picking the wrong supply source. Okay?
I want him to play a part because I already feel bad. He's been in this for 2 years. So now I
Well,
don't
wait a minute. Well, why don't right now you start doing something that I don't think you've ever done before and stop thinking about yourself?
Yeah, Judge Lauren Lake is talking to Miss Romelis. I just called her a narcissist. So that's what the judge is calling her to. When the judge is telling her, let's try doing something you never did before, which is stop thinking about yourself, she's calling her a narcissist. And I just called her that as well. There's no emotional empathy there. So that's what the blunt of being a narcissist is. There's no emotional empathy there.
Listen. The point is you got a child here that looks to these two gentleman. He lives with this one. You just gonna rip that from him because it feels better for you because you feel bad? No, you don't get to feel that bad right now.
She's totally provoking the judge with her attitude.
You're responsible for helping and figuring out how to clean up this mess you made. Okay?
Sure.
All right. With that said, good luck to all of you. Court is adjourned.
It hurt me real hard, but
Yeah, like Mr. Covington said, it hurt him real hard. He got a soul, y'all.
nothing but move on and continue going on with my life.
I feel like
Oh, and he's gonna be so glad, Mr. Covington, Mr. Jeremy Covington, when he watching the news and he see what just happened with this crazy lady, he gonna be so happy that the Lord didn't ensnare him more into the situation, or the Lord didn't allow the devil to do it. You know, so
Judge, like, she let it be known. She let the truth be known. That's what I came here for.
even the devil worshiper, Mr. Seymour, respects the truth. I mean, DNA is DNA. The DNA don't lie.
Truth be known.
I do have no idea who the father may be.
And so Miss Romelis is finally saying she does have an idea of who the father may be. If she ever found the father, I don't know. So yeah, so that's that. So remember, this is part 2. So now you're gonna hear, and remember, these videos will be in the description box. Now let's hear what she did, y'all. What she did is inhumane. And remember, in part 1, I talked about these eyelashes, right? So in this particular case, when Miss Romelis was in court 13 to 15 years ago, she didn't have on those eyelashes, but these certain type of eyelashes, thank you so much, Hillbilly Man 1974. Thank you. Yeah, and you'll really enjoy part 1. And if you're not already subscribed, Hillbilly Man 1974, I love your YouTube name. That is so cute. Thank you, Hillbilly Man 1974. You hear him? Hillbilly Man says thank you, and he's telling all of y'all to subscribe to the channel. So thank you so much. But yeah, part 1 is real deep, Hillbilly Man and everybody. And you know, I talk about my gift in part 1. So that will be interesting for you to learn, but I'm going to be using my gift more. And in the blunt of my gift, I can predict, feel, and understand past, death, horror, tragedy, and future. So I could stand next to somebody, and it won't happen every day, but I can sometimes stand next to a person and know they got a week to live. That's how deep my gift is, okay? So I will be utilizing it more because it's like 99.9% accurate. And a lot of people just watching paternity court, even I wouldn't have known it. When I first watched this paternity court, if I would have saw it, I wouldn't have necessarily thought that Mr. Seymour was a devil worshiper. But when the gift alerts me as to what it is, I'm just alerted. I'm not the Lord, so I won't know everything. The Lord in heaven only allows me to know certain things, y'all. Just some things. I won't know everything. I can't walk outside tomorrow and see 100 people and know all their futures and what bad is going to happen and what good is going to happen. I'm not very good at predicting good outcomes. Like I talked about that in part 1. I can't predict if you're going to get married or if you're getting ready to have a baby. And I don't really want that gift. I want the gift that the Lord gave me. I want to help people avoid danger. That's my gift. My gift is being able to say, don't go over there. You're getting ready to get shot. That's my gift. Okay. And I like it that way because I'm a protector. Okay. I'm a protector. So the Lord gave me the gift that I'm supposed to be anointed to have. So thank you so much for the light. Now since you know the sign and the wording, remember Miss Romella said that Mr. Seymour gave her financial and spiritual guidance. He's not a priest, he's not a pastor, he's not an imam, he's not even a Buddhist. How he give her this spiritual and financial guidance? He taught her how to worship the devil, is the bottom line. I'm utilizing my gift to tell you what this Negro did. He taught her how to worship the freaking devil. That's the bottom line, okay? And like I said, I'm only allowed insight on certain things, but now you're going to see the tragedy and listen to the tragedy of how it happened. Listen, it's very tragic, y'all. And remember the little boy's name, Akaria? He was the little boy that was on the paternity court. And I'm going to be putting both of these videos down in the description box, okay? Fair use, y'all. So you can hear what Miss Romella's, what happened. Now we 13 to 15 years later. And thank you so much, KT. 13 to 15 years later, y'all. Now you're gonna hear how tragic this is.
A senseless tragedy. Like, it is impossible to make sense of a senseless tragedy like this. But we will do everything.
And remember, this lady was on paternity court. She basically, in a subtle and passive aggressive way, is telling you what Mr. Seymour, Mr. Jeremy Seymour brought her into. Now, is he still into devil worship? I don't know. Did he change his mind? I don't know. It looks like he wasn't living with her when this tragedy happened. I don't think he was living there anymore. He was living there many, many years ago. As far as before this tragedy happens, it's just Miss Romella's and her 4 to 5 kids, okay? So listen to how this went. Thank you so much for the likes, y'all.
Like this. But we will do everything we can to seek justice for these children.
A Texas woman is accused of gunning down her own children in a horrific act of violence. Now, somehow, 2 of the 4 victims survived. They're now in recovery.
This is what happens when she allows someone to teach her about devil worship. 13 to 15 years later, she's gunned down 4 of her children. And the 5th one is missing. Fair use, y'all.
As their mom sits behind bars on a $14 million bond. And as the investigation...
And these eyelashes, y'all. She wasn't wearing them 13 to 15 years ago, but it's these certain kind of, these artificial eyelashes where the end of them go long, and then the rest of them are not as long. I don't know what the name of those style of eyelashes are, but it's something to notate now, because I'm so tired of seeing these murder cases with these black women with these long, weird looking eyelashes, right? And now, since we know that this particular lady came into the occult, satanic occult, and was basically allowing another man or a black man to teach her how to worship the devil, you got to take heed to these eyelashes, okay? So it makes me wonder if some of these other cases, if they had got into demonic worship. You know, I watch enough of these crime cases to where I'm starting to connect some of these people eyelashes to their behaviors. You know, it's just weird. You know, I was at a dentist appointment one time, and the dental assistant had on these really long eyelashes. And when she came around, she was like right in my face. I jumped, y'all. You know, these eyelashes, especially these big long ones, when a woman get right in your face, I jump like I saw the boogeyman. For real, some of this artificial stuff is it scares people, you know? And I'm just telling you my experience. You know, some ladies look okay with the eyelashes, but those ones are not very long. But if you want to know how something look, go ask somebody that don't have it on. I don't have a weave or any artificial eyelashes. Ask me how it look. But to be honest, women that wear these eyelashes, only about 5 to 10% of all of those ladies will look okay with those eyelashes. And I'm saying okay, not good. Some women look real pretty with them, but it's rare. Most women will look better with their real eyelashes. Eyelashes are not like jewelry to me. You know, the average woman, you could say 95% of women will look better with a little jewelry or earrings or a necklace, but it's not the same for eyelashes. And that's because eyelashes is a hair item. Your eyelashes, your real eyelashes is hair. It's just like thinking you look better chopping your eyebrows off and drawing some fake ones on. You might think you look better, but I don't know about that. I prefer real stuff. I just do. That's my preference. Have I ever wore artificial stuff? Absolutely, I have. I wore fake hair, wigs, extensions, braiding hair, and all of that. I'm just not wearing it right now, okay? So, with this particular case, since I know she came into devil worship, and I know that for sure, now I gotta look at what she got on a little different. I can't just look at her as the average church woman that's just wearing some eyelashes on Sunday. I can't view her in that perspective because I had prophesied that Mr. Jeremy Seymour brought her into satanic worship and guided her into it. So now I got to look at everything on a different level. I was just watching a mugshot of another case with a young lady, and she's in Texas as well. Same type of eyelashes. She just violently assaulted her own mother. This particular lady did. She was on a Facebook mugshot. Both of these ladies are in Texas. So you got to ask yourself, what's going on in Texas with the voodoo stuff? But voodoo, satanic worship, being in the occult is everywhere. It's all throughout the United States. But it just so happened that two particular women got the same style of eyelashes. So you got to wonder, like, is this a trend where when they're taking on the occult, they're wearing that style of eyelash on purpose? I don't know. I can't predict that part. I'm just noticing a pattern. And if I continue to see the pattern, I'll just point it out. I can't say for sure if those eyelashes connect to her being a satanic worshiper, but it is something to notate, and it is something that I've noticed. I was just watching these mugshot pictures a week ago. This girl, she's about 35 years old. She violently assaulted her mother in Texas. Okay. And this lady, Miss Romella's, is in Texas too. I know people do voodoo in Texas. I know that. Witchcraft, voodoo, satanic worship, and it ain't a white thing. We now know that worshiping the devil is not something that just the white man does or the white woman does. Actually, most of the white people I know are not into satanic worship. They actually worship the Lord. But see, the shoes are turning around. Yeah, maybe back in the day in Dr. Martin Luther King days, it was more black people. You know, you thought they were churchy people or whatever. But now things have changed. This is 2025. Okay. So, and I'll put this video in the description box so y'all can watch it.
sits behind bars on a $14 million bond. And as the investigation into Oninda Romulus widens, stranger and stranger details are coming out about what was allegedly going on inside her home. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Like I said, at this point, this is still an ongoing. However, what is most important is that our team is working on this. We've been burning the midnight oil on this ever since this dropped, right? So I can assure you we're looking into this, and there is a lot of stuff that is not able to be released at this point.
Law enforcement in 2 Texas counties are trying to piece together what led to a mother allegedly shooting her 4 children inside of a car, killing the oldest, a 13-year-old boy, and the youngest, a 3-year-old little girl. Brazoria County authorities say 31-year-old Oninda Romulus herself called 911. This was just before 5 a.m. on Saturday, October 4th, from an Oasis convenience store in Angleton. According to a criminal complaint that was later filed against Romulus, quote, affiant learned from the Brazoria County Dispatch.
And keep in mind, this is the same lady, Miss Romulus. They're pronouncing her name different. But I'm going to pronounce her name like Judge Lauren Lake pronounced her name. Miss Romulus, on paternity court, she was on paternity court 13 to 15 years ago. Remember, she was doing the paternity of Acaria or Acario. And now, this same woman that was on paternity court has shot 4 of her kids or children, and the 5th child is missing. The 5th child that's missing, I think he's 17. And Acaria, or Acario, that baby that she was doing the DNA for, Judge Lauren Lake, that little boy is dead. He's 13 or 15 and he's been killed now by this same woman that was on paternity court. How tragic. But this is the result of what happens when you start worshiping the devil. So, and then she's going to say that it's because of the devil. But why does she know for sure it's because of the devil? Now you got to monitor when people be saying that the devil made them do it and stuff like that. Well, of course, if you purposely and intentionally entered into the satanic occult, damn right it's the devil. If I sign up to worship Satan and I join an occult and they worshiping the devil like they actually worshiping the Lord, then that's why she know. So listen to this. This woman was on paternity court. It's horrible. But I found out through this video that she was on paternity court. And that's why I looked her up on paternity court. Once they said this video, this fair use video I'm using, once they said that she was on paternity court, I went to find her. I had to hear what she said on paternity court. Because my prophetic gift told me that I would find the answer if I went back to that paternity court. If I became a detective, I would solve 90% of my cases. I just would, because I know where to go look. Okay, so I went back to that paternity court video. I found it. I looked it up. I said, I got to see what she's saying on there. And my prophetic gift, the rest of it just worked for me. So this is horrible. But that baby that was on that paternity court, he's one of the children that died. She's killed him. That's hard. He was such a cute baby. You know, looking at his photos on paternity court, now he's murdered. Because I think he's one of the children that died. The 13-year-old, Acaria, that's the same name that was on the paternity court.
Or affiant learned from the Brazoria County Dispatch that a black female identified as Oninda Romulus had shot her 4 juvenile children and was currently located at the convenience store. So this complaint goes on to explain the scene that this investigator came upon at the gas station, where a white car was parked at a gas pump with the engine running, okay? Quote, a white sheet was covering a small child's body that was lying on the ground behind the vehicle. Affian observed a second white sheet covering a body that was on the passenger side of the car between the car and the gas pump. Affian observed the body was positioned with its body hanging halfway out of the front passenger door with legs in the vehicle and the upper torso and head on the ground. It's absolutely horrific. Now, at a news conference, authorities said that while they believe that this shooting took place inside the car, they don't know, or it's unclear where the car was when that happened. According to the investigator, the store owner arrived, let the deputy look at the surveillance footage. The investigator wrote that they were able to see a woman believed to be Romulus get out of the white car, walk around to the gas pump. It reportedly appeared like she was talking on the phone at the time, so possibly already on the phone with 911, not entirely sure. Once she got gas, she was seen walking back to the driver's side, stops to look in the rear window before getting back into the driver's seat. Now, the first deputies on the scene, they tried to talk to Romulus, but when she started backing away from them and the car, that's when they detained her. That is when they realized that there was a male slumped over in the front passenger seat. He was later identified as 13-year-old Acario. They tried to render aid, but he was dead. He was dead from gunshot wounds. And that is when they saw that there were 3 other children in the back seat, also sustaining gunshot wounds. And despite their best efforts, another child, 3-year-old Amora, was pronounced dead. The 2 others, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, they were life flighted to a hospital.
Could we use your house to trial our...
This is just horrible. It just is. Very, very sad. Hold on one second, y'all. I am just updating something right quick. Because I always, when I say I'm going to put something in the description box, y'all, I really do it. So that is what I'm working on right now. Hold on. This is more of a job than y'all think, y'all. It takes a lot of, you just gotta, when I say I'm gonna put something in the description box on the videos when the live ends, I just want to make sure I'm actually doing that. And I promise the viewers I would do that. And people are unsubscribed to you, y'all. You can't be just lying. People, they're gonna go back to part 1 and they're gonna be in the description box looking for what I say I'm gonna do. And if they don't see it, then they get mad. People be mad. And I try not to make my viewers and subscribers mad. It's so simple. If I say I'm gonna put this video down there, I really need to do it. And not be lying about it. Okay? Yeah, so I'm getting ready to play this. I'm working on the reaction, y'all. So you got to watch part 1. Thank you for being patient. I'm just making sure that I put the videos in the description box for part 1. So, because that's what I promised. Because y'all might go watch part 1 and look for the videos and be like, this lady, why she ain't posted right? So, yeah, so hopefully hold on. So, yeah. So, let me play this again. Fair use, y'all.
This spray takes 15 minutes and it protects your car for 8 months.
Oh, and speaking of spray, like this lady, Miss Romella's, she was very materialistic. And you know, from my perspective, overly materialistic people, they don't make good parents. And when they worship material things, not someone that just likes a nice house and nice things and want to share, a overly materialistic person, they don't make good parents because they'll sex traffic their child. They'll do horrible things to their child while they worship material things. I mean, the way Miss Romella's, she shot her 4 kids and the fifth one's missing, that's 17 years old. She took better care of her house and car than she did human beings. And so, you know, when you worship material things in the way that she did, because remember, Mr. Seymour, Mr. Dwayne Seymour brings her in the devil worship. Now, is he still into this stuff? No, he's not even currently in the house. So he might have got out of that occult and satanic stuff. I only can say that from watching that paternity court episode that I did the reaction on in part 1 and in this part 2, I could just testify that he was in it at that time. I don't know the man personally to say if he's still in it right now. And if he is, he needs to get out of it before he have some kind of horrible bad luck like Miss Romella's did. But listen, y'all, fair use.
This spray takes 15 minutes and it protects your
Why
car
are they talking about this spray again? Come on now, get off this commercial.
8 months. Sounds like a scam, right? But watch this.
The 2 others, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, they were life flighted to a hospital. Court documents indicate multiple guns were found with Romulus, whether they were on her person or in the car.
Yeah, so Akaria did pass away. And that's the baby boy that was on the paternity court with Miss Romella's. And neither one of those men was his father. Mr. Covington and Mr. Seymour, neither one of those men was Akaria's father. Did she end up finding his real father? I wouldn't know that because I don't personally know Miss Romella's, okay? I just know the things about her that I prophesied on, and that's all I'm allowed to know. I'm not the Lord, so the Lord don't allow me to know everything. Only the Lord knows the other answers that I don't. I can just tell you that the foundation of this crime is the fact she got into satanic worship and into the occult through listening to that crazy man, Mr. Seymour. And she basically, what happens is when you get into the satanic occult, and it happens to some people that become Masons and Eastern Stars. When they start doing those rituals and stuff, they possessed, y'all. Basically, they entering into something and it takes over them and they become like possessed by the devil. If you want to be possessed by the devil in 1 hour, just go join the satanic occult. And let's not say the devil's not real, because if he's not real, people wouldn't be worshiping him. If the Lord wasn't real, people wouldn't be worshiping the Lord. You think the Lord gonna allow us to be worshiping imaginary stuff? Come on now. There will be a lot of evidence provided when you worship anything. Okay? So, or any spirit. And I don't mean thing like I'm calling spiritual things as heavenly things, but any belief that you worship, you're going to have proof of it. Okay? And so the devil is real and the people worship the devil and they get a result. And that's what Miss Romella's got. She got a result. But her result is just horrific. And the victims of her are these kids. And that baby, Akaria or Akario, that was on paternity court, she's killed him. Imagine how Judge Lauren Lake feels if she's aware of this case. I'm quite sure they've alerted her. You know that case you did 13 to 15 years ago, you know this crazy lady that you was going off on? Because Judge Lauren Lake was going off on her. She couldn't handle her demonic ass. She went off on her. Judge Lauren Lake went off on Miss Romelis. And 13 to 15 years after being on paternity court, Miss Romelis has killed her boy. Handsome little boy. He grew up to be handsome. That same little smile he had on that picture on paternity court, he had it on this video as well. And this will be in the description box as well. Mom who shot 4 of her kids and has 5th child missing. Fair use, y'all.
Multiple guns were found with Romulus, whether they were on her person or in the car wasn't specified. But according to the complaint, deputies had already Mirandized Romulus, so the investigator tried to talk to her to find out what happened here, but said she, quote, wasn't.
I couldn't imagine doing this to Daniel or any of my sons. Even my one, the middle son that be acting up, that's going through his young stuff and think he know it all. I just couldn't imagine unaliving Isaiah, Elijah, or Daniel. I have 3 sons. So, but see, I know not to join the satanic occult. This could happen to me if I start worshiping Satan. I probably could unalive my children too, but it just ain't in me to unalive children. It ain't. It's just not in me. I mean, she wasn't fighting for her life. I mean, Akaria wasn't trying to attack her or anything. And I don't know who she shot first. Maybe he was trying to stop her from killing his siblings or something. I don't know. But that baby, Akaria, this beautiful little black boy that was on paternity court, I will be posting the videos in the description box. 13 to 15 years later, she's killed this handsome, kind young man. Just because she worships Satan don't mean the kids do. Those kids weren't old enough to worship the devil. Akaria probably believed in the Lord. Because remember, Mr. Covington, the man with the Holy Spirit, you could tell that love of the Lord was in Akaria's life when he was young. Even though Mr. Covington, the one that was not into devil worship, that was on the paternity court, even though Mr. Covington ended up not being the father, neither man ended up being her child's father. So Akaria was the baby, Mr. Covington, the man with the Holy Spirit, and then Mr. Seymour, the devil worshiper at the time. I can't confirm if he's still into that. He could not even be alive now. He could have had some kind of weird accident and he already dead. I don't know. So Akaria might believe and might have ended up being a really Holy Spirit filled boy since Mr. Covington was watching him. Mr. Covington might have taught him about the Lord. I don't know. He didn't look like he had a demonic energy on him. Akaria didn't. But his mama do, because she got into the satanic occult. And now she's shot all her babies. And we don't know where the 5th one is at this point. I don't know if there's any indication of where the 17-year-old is at. Is that her motive of why she shot the 4? But remember, in part 1, she states that she did something out of spite. So imagine this, a spiteful woman, a vindictive, revengeful, spiteful woman allows a potential baby daddy to teach her about the satanic occult. And now look, so fair use, y'all. This is horrible. What she did is horrible. I'm talking about what she did is horrible.
Wasn't making any sense. And at that point, she was taken to jail. When the investigator got back to the sheriff's office, Romulus was escorted to an interview room. They wrote in the complaint that she appeared paranoid, didn't want to sit down, kept looking out the door of the interview room. But the investigator was finally able to build enough rapport with her to ask a few questions.
And now since the prophetic spirit has told me she was in the devil worship, now I gotta wonder with the other black moms that are unaliving their kids, if they tap into witchcraft as well. And this is just their result. They end up murdering their kids. how many are getting into that and then snapping out and murdering these kids? Because this paranoid behavior, in this case, this is not true paranoid schizophrenia. You know, when you are possessed by the devil, it can make you behave like you have schizophrenia, but you actually don't. You're possessed. A lot of people that are diagnosed with these illnesses, some of them possessed, y'all, not all. One person could act like that and they got a brain tumor, but another person could actually join the satanic occult and they're possessed. But yeah, Corey is dead. So that baby on paternity court, that beautiful little boy, Miss Romelis has murdered her own son. 2 of the children died and 2 of them may survive it, I guess is what happened.
The complaint reads, during the interview, Affian asked Aninda Romulus why she called 911, and she stated that she couldn't talk about it. Affian then asked several more questions as to why she called 911, and she stated, instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them. Affian further asked, do what? Well, Aninda Romulus stated, kill them all.
And them children wasn't going to do nothing to her. She's possessed, y'all. None of her children was going to hurt her at all. They would have grew up and been her protectors. This lady, she's possessed.
At one point, when Romulus was being questioned, she reportedly said that she didn't call 911, she called, quote, the devil. Affian continued with the interview and asked Aninda Romulus if she had any children. She stated, Affian further asked how many children she has, and Aninda Romulus replied that she has 4 children, naming them and stating their ages. Affian asked Aninda Romulus where her children were, and she stated they were with, quote, the devil. Affian then asked what she meant by that.
And in this case, she's not a schizophrenic. They are with the devil because that's the occult she joined. So in this case, it may sound weird. You know, she shot her 4 kids and the 5th child is missing. But because I prophesied that she joined the satanic occult, in this case, she's actually not crazy by saying that she thinks they're with the devil. But the thing is, the Lord is above the devil. So those children are not with the devil. She may end up with the devil, Miss Romelis, if she died. But the children, because of their ages, they will be allowed to enter heaven, no matter their situation. All 4 of her children, inclusive of the 13-year-old, all 4 of her children will enter the gates of heaven. So no, the devil caused her to kill him because she got possessed when she joined the satanic occult. And you got to go back and watch part 1 and how I prophesied how I know she did that. Okay? I was borderline raised most of my life by atheists, y'all. So my grandmother, she wasn't into the holy things. My grandmother was not filled with the Holy Spirit. Okay, so I have a lot of insight on people that are not people that are filled with the Holy Spirit. I love my grandmother, but my grandmother was not a spiritual woman. This was not a religious woman. This woman was not saved and baptized and filled with the Holy Spirit. My grandmother found some form of spirituality within herself before she passed away. But the entire time she was raising me, my grandmother was not a holy woman. Yeah, she was a good grandmother in the sense she allowed me to stay with her. So that was a good deed and good trait about her. But a person can do a good deed. The Lord can use anybody. Even an atheist or someone that's not filled with the Holy Spirit. Okay, so I have a lot of insight on the difference between someone that's borderline worshiping the devil and somebody that's not. So, you know, I'm just explaining to you some of my background so you'll have an understanding of my diversity and understanding things. Even my grandmother, being a borderline atheist, she at certain points, I witnessed her possession. Literally, my grandmother was an Eastern Star. She got into that, masonry and stuff like that. It's not good. None of it's good. It's not good to be an Eastern Star. If you're in that organization, get out of it before you fuck around and come home from one of those rituals and damn near smother one of your kids or fuck one of your kids up, like what my grandmother actually did to me. 9 years old, smothered me out with a pillow, y'all. Very bad situation. But this is the stuff, when people are like atheists and they become possessed by the devil and they join these satanic occults, they become dangerous to the children around them. My grandmother blanked out and didn't know what the hell she did to me. I didn't even understand it. She didn't know what she did because she's going to those Eastern Star meetings and doing those rituals and shit. All of it's satanic possession. It all is. And it will not bring good luck in your family. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. So you just got to be very careful with what you into. I'm just sharing some of my background so you will understand my level of understanding. And maybe you will understand why I even have the gift in the first place. Why was I even anointed with the gift from the Lord? I had to be because the Lord knew that I had to be able to handle the situation I was going to be going into when I went to my grandmother's restaurant and I was forced to live there. I didn't want to be there, but that's where I was designed to be, and that's where I was. Had a lot of good times there. Not everything was bad. One of the things that I could say about my grandmother is she did not restrain me or not allow me to be around people that love the Lord. So I had the freedom in my own individual choosing of my religion. I did. My grandmother did not keep Catholics and Christians and Muslims away from me. She didn't do that. She allowed my friends to come over and for us to hang out and stuff like that. It was a lot of good in it too, but I just want you to know some of my background so you will understand that certain things I speak about, I know what I'm talking about because I was raised in the shit. I know what it's like when your grandmother's borderline possessed by some shit because she going to these motherfucking Eastern Star meetings and she, that particular week, smothered me out 9 years old and almost unalived me and was in a trance like she didn't know what the fuck happened. So I'm telling you, I got experience in these things. May my grandmother rest in peace. I appreciate everything she ever done for me, inclusive of the smothering. Okay, I appreciate it all. But I'm fine now. And you just, sometimes it's good to understand a person's background when they're exposing and doing prophecy of things. You want to understand the person's background so you can understand the root of their gift as well, because the gift comes with a deep-seated root, okay, as well. It's not something that just comes overnight, so to speak. So yeah, let me finish playing this video. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Affian then asked what she meant by that statement, and Oninda Romulus stated, "They're dead." Affian asked Oninda Romulus what she meant by that statement, "They're dead," and she stated, "Because you can't take me without me taking you." Oninda Romulus further stated that her children were dead to her. So authorities, they charged her with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and she was booked on a $14 million bond. It turns out, though, that Romulus's home was in Porter, Texas, in Montgomery County, so that's more than 60 miles away from where she was arrested, and we got our hands on the search warrants that were filed by Montgomery County investigators, and I will tell you, they provide more information about her that we need to talk about. All right, so before we dive into all these details, I want to welcome on a new guest here on Sidebar, Dr. Nancy Wilson, a nationally recognized legal scholar, commentator, law degree from Howard University, doctorate from the University of Texas at Austin, knows how to break down all of these complex criminal matters. Thank you so much for taking the time, and welcome to Sidebar. We really love having you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great to get this conversation.
Watch what honey does to your neuropathy. This medical doctor has reversed neuropathy disease.
Thank you so much for coming back to the live, y'all. So yeah, I just did some commentary on that. So this is a commercial, so hold on.
There are certain foods you should eat every day to support your body.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and welcome to Sidebar. We really love having you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great to get this conversation.
Yeah, this is a tough case. I mean, the information we know so far is just chilling. It is so shocking. A scene for law enforcement to respond to. You have 4 children, grisly wounds, 2 of them already dead, 2 who could die if they didn't get immediate help. What is your initial reaction when looking at this, and what do you say to people? What is the number one priority when responding to a scene like this?
My number one response was, oh my God, the children. Right. I looked at the transcript and then got to see a little bit of the video, I guess, from the scene. And I'm just thinking, like, what type of mental state must someone be in to allegedly do this to their children and then get out, drive to a gas station on the phone and start pumping gas, right? While some of the children were within a breath inch of their life. But in terms of the kind of preserving the crime scene for the police and for law enforcement, even for a defense attorney, right? The first thing you want to do here is check the car and see, is anyone alive? Right? Can we get a medical expert out here to survey this scene? How do we get this woman to begin talking, if she'll talk at all? Right? Is she Mirandized? Are we going to be able to use what she's telling us, one, to preserve the crime scene for a prosecution and perhaps for a defense, but also making sure that we can get to the wounds and understand what has happened to these kids? Because clearly from the affidavit, it's not immediately clear that the children had been shot, right? Or whether they're alive or dead. So that'd be my first couple priorities there.
By the way, you know why we're able to bring you stories like this? It's not only because of the amazing support that we get from all of you out there, but also from our incredible sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, a firm with over 1,000 attorneys. You know why they're so big? Because they win all the time. They have recovered over $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months, a client in Florida received $12 million after the insurance company offered just $350,000.
I guess this is kind of like a commercial here, y'all, so just be patient here. But the bottom line is, I hope this was interesting, and the video's in the description box. You'll be able to watch it. My channel, my lives are kind of like a radio show. So imagine, like, back in the day, if when we watched radio shows, we could click our phones and watch or see what the radio show people were seeing. With radio shows, you couldn't see people, you could just hear. But in this case, my lives, also known as the radio show, you can go down in the description box and see my videos. So basically, I'm like a critic, y'all. So I point you in the right direction on what you need to be learning and seeing, educating you using my gift of prophecy. I'll be using that more and more. If it's my gift, I need to use it, right? Why act like I don't have it when I'm 99.9% accurate? I'm like DNA. So why, when I'm so accurate, it's like a seasoned detective. A seasoned detective is very thorough. He knows to double check himself, and he's 99.9% accurate. I know detectives and police officers that are that way. Why do they need to act like their intuition and their gift of prophecy is not being used in their policing job? So, yeah, that's basically how that works, y'all. So, fair use, y'all.
A client in Florida received $12 million after the insurance company offered you.
This is their advertisement. It's called fourthpeople.com. I guess you could start this like as a business or something. Maybe I'll put this in the description box too. I don't know. Just, yeah. It's a way to get cheap insurance or whatever.
$350,000. Out in Pennsylvania, a client was awarded $26 million. That is 40 times the insurer's $650,000 offer. There's another client in Pennsylvania that received $29 million after being offered only $500,000. And even if you
it's gonna get to the video, y'all, so be patient.
think your case isn't worth millions of dollars, why not just start a claim and fight for what you deserve? Morgan & Morgan makes it so simple. You can start a claim from your phone in just 8 clicks. So if you're injured, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/LC sidebar by clicking the link below or scanning the QR code on screen.
This is my #1 recommendation as a sex coach.
Oh no, that's the commercial. So please ignore what she just said. I don't believe in a sex coach, okay? That's not what I'm doing here on this channel. So let me silence this. YouTube, I'm sorry. Okay, that's not me. A sex coach. What the hell?
You mentioned mental health. The investigator said at least twice in this affidavit that Romulus, quote, wasn't making sense, was acting paranoid. When you read something like that, what do you make of it?
Well, I mean, there's a lot more that needs to be done. So as a criminal defense attorney, my first thought is, one, is she going to be competent to stand trial in the future, right? But that determination is made at the kind of moment that we're getting ready to go to trial, not at the crime scene. But two, at that crime scene,
Miss Romella's, I'm going to pronounce her name like the paternity court judge, Judge Lauren Lake, because she pronounces people's names right. So I'm going to pronounce Miss Romella's name the way she did, because I believe that's more of the correct pronunciation probably. So this lady, Miss Romella, she had a Instagram page. Because she got into the satanic occult through that man, Dwayne Seymour, and like I said, I can't confirm if he's still involved with it. The devil made her lose sight of the value of her kids, right? Their human value. So she became very materialistic. She was into these financial scams. When they went in her house, they found all these people names, I guess, and social security numbers. She had other people identities. So this is the stuff Mr. Seymour, it seems like he brought her into. And she had this big, pretty house. I don't know if she owned or rented it. She lived in Texas. And material things became more important than her 4 to 5 children. We don't even know where the 5th child is at. That one's missing, the 17-year-old. But like I said, the baby, Akaria, that was on paternity court. And remember, I stated that even though that video was uploaded on paternity court 3 years ago, the video was actually filmed 13 years ago. Okay? So just because you see a video says 3 years ago, that doesn't mean that that's when the video was actually filmed. So keep that in mind when you go in the description box and watch these videos that I'm going to put below. But her joining Miss Romella's getting into the satanic occult, ultimately she ended up shooting all 4 of her kids. And we don't know where the 5th one is at. She could have buried him in somebody's backyard, or he's in the woods. He or she, I don't know if the 5th child, I think the 5th child is a son. I think they stated, they'll say it here, but I think that's a son. We don't know where he's at. We don't even know if maybe she shot the 4 kids to cover up what she did to the 5th child. But ultimately, in this case, when she says it's because of the devil, she's right, because she signed up to worship the devil. So it actually is the devil. Now, see, if you love the Lord, if you don't sign up to worship the devil, see, I don't sign up to worship the devil. So if I do something, it's not the devil making me do it, because the Lord is more powerful than the devil. But if you sign up to worship the devil has more control of you, if that makes sense. Don't get into the satanic occult. Don't become a Mason. Don't become an Eastern Star. Don't sign up for this stuff in the first place and then the devil won't have so much control of you. So she gives the devil a lot of control of her. The devil can't tell me to go kill my sons because I haven't made a pledge to sell my soul or told the devil I'm going to worship him. I rebuke the devil. The devil is totally rebuked in my life, okay? But this is not what Miss Romelis did. And unfortunately, when she says the devil did it, I mean, in this case, she's kind of right because she's possessed by the devil, but she willingly became possessed by the devil. So in that sense, you shouldn't feel sorry for her because she willingly signed up to worship evil and wickedness. She did that voluntarily.
And is she just speaking gibberish? Is she acting? Does she need mental health support? Because a lot of times you will have folks that are maybe just in shock. And I can't imagine,
And when you see this video, this man sounds like a man, this black man. But when you see the video, he looks like a transgender. Okay, so just be aware of that. Because I'm not showing you the video right now, I don't know what the hell this man, maybe it's a woman with a real manly voice, but I don't think so. This man sound like a man, but I'm listening to his information, not so much focused on if he a transgender or not, but just be warned of that. I'm not in support of anybody being a transgender. I'm not advocating for transgenders. So when I post the video in the description box, don't think that it means I agree with that. So I just want to pre-warn you about that as well. Oh, look, Akaria. They're showing him now. He's such a handsome boy. 13 years old. Yeah, cute.
And I can't imagine, allegedly shooting or even just being accused of shooting 4 of my children, killing 2 of them, that I would not be in shock, that I would not be saying anything, right, to an officer or to myself, to God, whoever I believe in, to my family.
She's talking about to God or whoever he believes in. She don't believe in a holy God. That's the problem. She don't believe in a heavenly God. She's not in shock because she knows that she's reaping the consequences of joining the satanic occult. So no, she's not in shock.
I'd also be interested in thinking about who she was on the phone with after she called the police. That'd be interesting to me. But in that moment, we're going to want to have her have some type of evaluation because she could be leading you down a rabbit hole, or it could just be that whatever she's saying is not helpful to the crime scene investigation or to the investigation of are there other children, which we kind of find out later.
There are 2 things to that as I was reading it. One, the idea of allegedly shooting your own children, there's got to be something there. So first thought, I wondered, is she even on the phone with anybody, right? If you're thinking about delusion, I mean, was she even speaking to anybody? Let's put that there. Mm-hmm. But my understanding is in Texas, and I know this is an incredibly tough defense. I know that this doesn't always apply, but when you're dealing with a situation like this, I immediately looked it up. Texas has the insanity defense. And if you're talking about whether somebody appreciated the wrongfulness of their actions.
Y'all hear that? But very rarely do they give, even if a state has an insanity defense, that doesn't mean that she qualifies, okay? So don't get it twisted. Insanity, and to be honest, people that get insanity, that would apply like you flipped out because somebody killed all your kids. So that would apply for somebody, say the baby daddy, or if she found out who the baby daddy was, that baby daddy went and flipped out and murdered her because she murdered the kids. They're not really giving people insanity pleas, especially black women and black men that just join occults and unalive their kids. When the police and detectives enter the home, they're going to know she's joined the occult, right? So even if that information as of now is not exposed to the public, and it may never be exposed. I'm just prophesizing that that's what she did. But the evidence will be in her house of what she joined. You're not going to go into somebody's home and they've joined the satanic occult or any organization that's demonic and not see evidence of it. The evidence will be right in her house. And they may never expose it to the media. They may keep it totally a secret. But she's not going to get an insanity plea. She won't be granted that. She's black. Too many black women are murdering their children and beating them and all kind of stuff. So burning them up. It's just so many different cases with black women. So she's not going to get an insanity plea. So just understand, even though a state may have insanity laws where people get off for that, they are rarely offered to most people. It's very rare, even when a state allows insanity pleas and it's legal up under the law. Don't kill anybody think you're getting an insanity plea in Texas. Texas is a hard state. I've watched a lot of cases with Texas, and Texas don't play. You going down, okay? She's not getting off for no insanity.
And obviously we don't have all of the details yet, but is that something that may be considered by a defense attorney when you're talking about such a heinous crime like this? And it may be difficult for a jury to accept. How on earth could someone shoot children like this? There has to be something wrong.
That's right. Well, I mean, I think in a situation like this, you always consider every defense, right? Because again, just to remind our viewers, what we have right now is affidavits from the police. We have the police's side of the story. We don't have her side really yet. I always tell when I was teaching law, I tell my students, look, when you read an affidavit.
She ain't got much of a side than what I said to y'all, okay? I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the side is her getting into that satanic worship stuff. She became possessed and unalived her kids. She's accountable. When you join any group or organization that worships the devil and you kill your kids, you're accountable for that. Okay? That's not insanity. She purposely did that. When you got kids, you got to know not to join stuff like that. I know not to join a satanic occult because I got kids. You don't, having children and worshiping the devil don't go hand in hand. You can't be raising kids and worshiping the devil. Those two things don't match up together. Oh, speaking of kids, I gotta remember Daniel came in here and he said that Jerome had murdered his wife on paternity court, but he said not the white Jerome. But I gotta look that up. I wrote a note about that so I could look it up, y'all. Daniel be keeping up to date on his cases. Isaiah do too. Isaiah, he be sending me stuff, and Isaiah and Daniel, they remind me of my grandmother. She was always she kept up on the news, y'all. My grandmother is who I think made me become interested in crime and the news and stuff, because she was always saying, come here, Irene, look at the news, And so that's something my grandmother taught me at an early age, to be worried about what's serious, know what's going on. And that's affecting me right now to this very day. Just her teaching me that at a very young age. I was resistant at first. I didn't like watching the news, but I found that some of the things I watched was interesting. And so that's why I'm able to study real things now. My grandmother wasn't like, come here, Irene, watch some cartoons. My grandmother wasn't telling me to come to the TV to watch no silly shit. She's like, watch this. And my son the same way. I guess it's a trait we just passing on through the family. My grandmother passed it on to me. I'm passing it on to my sons, and my sons, there's a lot of things I don't even know about. And Isaiah will tell me, this happened or this happened. Isaiah will come home from work all the time and let me know something happened, good or bad. But he keeps up to date on the cases. And I'd be amazed that Isaiah and Daniel know some of the things they know. And even Elijah, living outside of my home now, he updates me on things, and he'll know about things as well. He's updated me on some things as well. So but Elijah, he doesn't live with me anymore. So mainly just Isaiah and Daniel keep me up to date on the news. So just to share that with you.
Affidavit, you read a crime scene report, you read a complaint. This is the worst case scenario for the client, right? This is if all the worst things are true, that's what we're reading right now. So as a defense attorney, of course, you're going to want to consider that.
And she looks possessed, y'all. You could tell the emotion in her face had left. She looks possessed. There's a different look between somebody looking possessed and looking like they're mentally ill. She looks spiritually ill. And she lost sight of what she is, like I said, it just doesn't mix. Satanic worship and being a mom, it just won't mix. It will give this kind of result. She shot 4 of her kids. The 5th one's missing, and out of 4 of the kids that she shot, 2 of them are already dead, including Akaria that was on the paternity court show. That'll be down in the description box. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all.
Things are true. That's what we're reading right now. So as a defense attorney, of course, you're going to want to consider that insanity defense. And it's not the best defense you can get. It's not the one you want to use. It's not a get out of jail free card. Because if you use that, that does not mean you are not going to be punished. It means, right, in many cases, and Texas is a strange state. I got to look a little bit closer. I haven't been there in a minute. But it generally means across the country that you're going to be incarcerated held. Let's not say incarcerated, detained maybe. It's maybe a better word. Until you reach sanity. Right. And then your punishment might change. So this isn't like you get an insanity defense and now you're out at your house, right, on medication or being checked up on unsupervised probation. No, you're still going to be held away from society. Right. So that's something that we have to think about. But again, the insanity defenses, were they able to appreciate the wrongfulness of their act at the time? And we don't know that. Right. But do they also understand that the thing that they're doing is criminal? That's another thing that we're going to think about. So she could say that, yeah, the devil made me do it. That still may not meet the standard of insanity in Texas. So that's going to be a hard defense to make. And if I'm the defense attorney on this case.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was just saying, that just because she's saying the devil made her do it doesn't mean it's going to qualify for an insanity defense in Texas. That's what I was saying. A insanity defense, it's rare that anyone qualifies for that. I mean, I've watched cases where the person has been diagnosed with 5 to 10 mental health conditions. Schizophrenia, bipolar, they're a narcissist, they have depression, they're paranoid schizophrenic, they got PTSD, anxiety, they got all these different illnesses. They're homicidal, they're everything, and they still do not qualify for an insanity defense. That stuff just ain't working now. And to be honest, that insanity defense stuff in the United States, this may sound kind of like, you may disagree with it, but I'm going to tell you the real truth. The insanity defense, if you live in the United States, that's created for white people. Okay? It was never meant for black men and women to get insanity defenses. It's not. It was created for the white man and woman to, in certain situations, avoid prisons and jails. In the United States, you may not agree with it, but that's what it is. And it's very rare that a black woman or man is allowed the insanity defense. If I go kill a bunch of people, I will not be allowed the insanity defense. I just won't. Because I'm not considered white, and it was never meant for black people. It's not for black and white men and women, it's for white people. So a lot of these laws are created to protect white people in the United States. Some of the laws, they allow black people to benefit from, but it's not the insanity defense. That's not one of the defenses that's highly used or allowed amongst the black race. It's just not. Black people go to jail even when we're actually defending our lives. Okay, I mean, even some white people have went to jail, like literally defending their lives. You got to look at some of the domestic violence cases from like the 1960s and 70s. Those battered women, white and black women. You know, somebody 6 foot tall, 6'4" or 5, beating the crap out of a 4'10" woman, and she shoots him to get him off of her, and that's still not self-defense. And those white women and black women, they're still in prisons. Most of them died in prisons. Most of them didn't even qualify for manslaughter, but they actually were defending their lives. So, yeah, just understand the insanity plea. It's not meant for this black lady, and so she will not get that.
So that's going to be a hard defense to make. And if I'm the defense attorney on this case, I'm going to be looking at the things. Did someone else shoot these kids? Right? Was she under the influence? Was she unlawful?
And in my perspective, she shouldn't qualify for it. Her deciding to worship the devil, and she signed up for that voluntarily and ended up possessed and unaliving her kids, 2 of her kids, and shooting the other 2. And we don't know where the 5th child is at. That's not an insanity plea, in my opinion. That's like killing your kids on purpose. You got to know that deciding to worship the devil, somebody gonna get hurt. Okay, and she took a chance and unalived her kids. And she's not mentally ill, she's spiritually ill. When you decide to join a satanic occult and you become possessed, you're possessed. It has very little to do with mental illness. She's not mentally ill, she's possessed. So this is what I would call, like I've said in some of my videos, spiritual illness. She's spiritually ill. Yeah, they're going to say, oh, she's schizophrenic or something just because she said the devil did it. But in this case, she's saying the devil did it because I went over in part 1, the language used on that paternity court episode. I prophesied on this in this case. So I used my gift of prophecy to tell you what actually went down. So she's possessed. That's the bottom line. So in this case, she's possessed. And when she says the devil did it, she's actually giving credit to what she signed up for. She's basically saying, I joined the satanic occult and the devil did it. Because she understands now that the devil began to take control of her mind because she had to sell her soul and submit to the devil and commit blasphemy and go against the Lord.
Was she under the influence? Was she unlawfully drugged by someone else?
No, she's not necessarily drugged. I just explained what happened. But see, this is a doctor. This guy is a psychiatrist or whatever talking. And so he's dressed like a lady. So he sounds like a man. So I'm calling him a man. So was she under the influence of drugs? No, she's under the influence of Satan because she gave her life to Satan. Go back to part 1 where I go over what happened there, okay? So, and this is why the psychology stuff, he's just gaslighting you. She gave her life to Satan, and this is the result. He may be unaware of that. They ain't teaching him that in psychiatry. They teach him that this is a paranoid schizophrenic. He may not even believe in being possessed. This is why I'm not checking in with all these psychiatrists and psychologists. They're not spirit-filled enough. All these people are not schizophrenics. Some of them are actually possessed. It's a difference between a real paranoid schizophrenic and someone that's actually possessed by the devil. There is a difference. Okay?
Was she under the influence? Was she unlawfully drugged by someone else? Is there medication in her?
Can we?
The medication is when she gave her life to Satan. And I gave you the evidence in part 1 where she's stating it right there. Don't be so naive, okay?
Talk about that real quick before we get any further. Would it be standard protocol to test her blood for any alcohol, drugs, toxins? And if they didn't, if law enforcement didn't, is that something that a defense attorney could bring up as a potential issue later down the line?
If they did not?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's something I would bring up. I mean, generally cases like this, and in any case, particularly in Texas, where they love to test your blood for anything, they're probably going to do these tests mostly for a liability issue for the jail as well, because now you brought.
And even if they do test her blood and find something, yes, she's indulged in drugs. She's worshiping Satan. So Satan will actually, a lot of the spells and, you know, the curses and stuff that they're putting out there work better when they're hypnotized or seduced under some kind of drugs. There's specific drugs. I don't know the name of them, but people that are in satanic occults, when they're doing rituals, there's specific drugs that they will be given, that the warlocks and other people will give them to make the rituals more powerful. So you can study on that. I've done some studying on this way back in the day. So there's certain drugs that satanic worshipers take, okay, that people do not take when they go to church or the masjid. Okay, so they got their own things that they do. I won't know what the name of the drug is because I'm not worshiping the devil. Okay, but she will. So yeah, she could have drugs in her system. She could have had drugs in her system when she allowed Mr. Seymour, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, that was on paternity court with her, when she allowed him to talk her into that. She might have already been high. It's better to be sober, so you're more awakened. So yeah, but even if they find drugs in her system, that doesn't change the fact of my prophecy that Miss Romelis still gave her life to Satan, and admittedly did it. You just got to listen to my prophecy and not be so naive when you listening to how Miss Romelis stated in paternity court how Mr. Seymour was guiding her in financial and spiritual guidance. That means her motherfucking ass is worshiping the devil. And I posted in the description on part 1 both videos so you can watch it yourself. So please like, share, and subscribe, y'all.
Brought this person in who's clearly acting delusional, walking in circles, talking to someone who's not there, talking to the devil, saying her kids are with the devil because she's not going to let them take her out. There's something wrong here. So you're going to have a medical.
And her kids are not with the devil. See, her worshiping the devil don't give her power over those kids. All 4 of her babies, the two that died, they're going to heaven. So this psychologist or psychiatrist, he can gaslight, but he could play crazy, like he don't understand spiritual things, and he may not if he's just reading books, okay? He's not reading the books of spiritual things, but in this particular case, I prophesied that she did sign up to worship the devil. So when she talks about the devil in the way that she does, in this case, it's true. It's not schizophrenia. This lady's possessed because she allowed Mr. Seymour, one of the men that was on paternity court with her, to guide her into this so-called financial and spiritual guidance. That ain't how people talk when they go to church, y'all, and go to the masjid and go to the monastery. That's not how they talk, okay? Mr. Seymour was not a pastor, priest, or imam. So what kind of spirituality he guiding her into? And that's also not how people talk when they talking about some good dick. Okay, so he ain't talking about no good dick he gave her neither. He's talking about demonic shit he taught her. And he's no longer in that house. Like I said, I don't even know if that man is still alive. The stuff he got into, he might have got into a tragic accident or something. He might be in a mental institution. I don't know. Or he might have got out and gave his life to the Lord and got out the situation. I don't know what happened to the man. I can't prophesy that. The Lord hasn't given me the information to know what happens to that man. The Lord only allowed me to know and to prophesy that Mr. Dwayne Seymour taught her about how to worship the devil. That's all I'll be able to know. I'm not God in heaven. I won't know everything. I'm only allowed to prophesy on certain things. Okay? And I'm guaranteeing you 99.9% that that's what happened. But this psychologist, he just gonna keep gaslighting you in this video. So fair use, y'all.
Medical evaluation, and that medical evaluation team is going to decide what tests need to be done to best treat this person. Because the other thing that you're going to be looking for if you're the jail or the sheriff in Texas is to say, wait a minute, I don't know if this person needs.
And she keep wearing these glasses. Okay, you're gonna repeatedly see when you watch this video, you're gonna repeatedly see these shades on her, right? And that's a sign too. You know, some people wear the shades, they're not possessed. But what could be happening in a case like this is because of the satanic position that she took when she took on the satanic worship, she will be able to see the changes in her eyes, and she doesn't want other people to notice it. Okay, so the devil got her covering up herself and who she is, as far as her eyes. So a lot of people that get in positions of possession, you will often see them with dark sunglasses on all the time, extremely long weaving hair, super long eyelashes. It's all a cover. They're being covered up from like head to toe with unhealthy things. Okay, so this is the process that someone will go through that you may pick up on or notice. Like if you start noticing people that look kind of possessed or that you know have taken on the occult or satanic worship, and you start seeing them all with dark shades on, you can see patterns. There's videos where it talks about a lot of narcissists will like to wear dark shades. I don't like wearing them. I'm not a sunglass person. I don't like covering up my eyes and hiding myself from people because I have nothing to hide. So, but in this case, when you look at the video, you'll notice this pattern of her wearing these dark sunglasses or whatever kind of glasses they are. Okay.
I don't know if this person needs to be on suicide watch. I don't want this liability in my jail without having a medical team truly evaluate what's going on with her mentally, what's going on with her psychotically, what's going on with her kind of physiology, with her biology here. Is she under something? So those are evaluations.
And he won't say, the psychologist is not going to say what's going on with her spiritually. Okay. And this is my problem with psychology, especially this type of psychologist.
You're going to want to do. But as a defense team, of course, you're going to want that information. And if they don't have it, it's great because now you can create more reasonable doubt. Sometimes it's better that they didn't do the testing.
Ever look at your home and think, what can I actually do with all this equity just sitting there? I looked into every option.
Sometimes it's better.
That was the commercial, y'all. So I apologize.
That they didn't do the testing.
It's a really good point. It's a really good point. Okay, so let's talk about this, Dr. Wilson. I want to get your reaction to Romulus's social media presence. Okay, so we dug into her Instagram page, and while some moms, might be sharing photos and videos of their children's milestones or these really special, cherished moments, her page has almost no posts that feature her children. Many of her photos and videos, they showcase a party lifestyle, includes her showing off stacks of cash and luxury perks.
I watched videos, y'all, some years ago where it talks about, especially with Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, lot of those platforms are meant to like possess people. They mention it even with Facebook, but they mostly focused on Instagram. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Sometimes the way the layout is of something, I feel more comfortable with Facebook than I do Instagram. Just the way all that stuff pops up like that, it sometimes it feels demonic. I feel maybe because I've been on Facebook longer, I don't know, but Instagram is a different type of thing. You will notice when these kids are on Instagram, they'll act real weird, y'all. Daniel, since my son has been home from his experience, that I've went over in the lives that I went over, with what Daniel went through, running for his life and stuff. He behaves and is much more normal uploading YouTube videos and just on his Facebook. I truly believe that I believe Instagram possesses some of these kids, y'all. You got to be careful. Make your kid aware. Like if this child has been on Instagram for an hour or two and you notice them wigging out and acting real weird, just be mindful. Be really mindful of stuff, So, and I studied videos and watched videos and read some materials online and stuff about Instagram possession of people. Oh, this is what the stuff said. Okay, now since I'm thinking about it, it said that a child being on Instagram, because it was a black girl. I don't know if y'all remember her. She committed suicide on Instagram. So remember that was like several years ago. The little black girl committed suicide on Instagram, and you started seeing more of that pattern with the suicides on Instagram. So people were saying that Instagram is like possessed, like warlocks and stuff. They put curses on the platforms. So then when you get on the platform, you become possessed. Some people do, not all people. I'm not on Instagram much and I'm not on Facebook much. I'm mainly on YouTube. I find more value in uploading on YouTube, and I find that I learn more here. So I don't really, I don't feel that comfortable with Instagram. I started uploading on it, but I find that I can do more of my needs are met on YouTube and Facebook. I find that I can upload more on Facebook too. So just so you're aware that, there's one particular seasoned police officer that told me he don't allow his children to get on any social media platform at all. Facebook, Instagram. He has no problems with his kids neither. So a lot of these problems that a lot of these kids are having, and adults, not just the kids, because look at what Miss Romelis did. She just unalived her family. Okay. And the 5th child's missing, as far as I know. I don't know if they found him. I don't know if the 5th child, I think the 5th child is a son and he's 17, I think. I don't know if he's going to be found dead or alive. Where is he? 4 of her kids are shot. Where is her 5th one? So I'm curious to know if they find out where he's at.
Purchases, although as we know, what's presented online isn't always the truth, no matter who you're talking about. We found this example, by the way, of Romulus's apparent maybe attitude toward her children. It's from a trip to Cancun that they took for spring break earlier this year, and a photo of a drink with the caption, "I had to soon as I got off the flight because these kids ain't worth a damn." Then there's a video, apparently from that same trip, that
there was another black mom that killed a couple of her kids. They were like 9 and 6. One was a boy, one was a girl. And she was posting online saying the kids was bad and getting on her nerves too. So that's a red flag when they're saying it on social media like that.
Shows or seems to show Romulus escorting a group of children to an area with a pool. She speaks with them more on the way down a flight of stairs, and the caption on the video reads, "Much needed," smiling emoji with hearts. If F them kids was a person, face palm emoji.
Yeah, she's saying if F them kids was a person, something emoji, that's all a red flag. Talking about, and these kids are really, really little kids, you know. So that's all a red flag. A black flag, to be honest. A black flag is stronger than a red flag. That's like real strong. While she's recording the babies. One of the babies is like 3. And she's saying F these kids, and the little girl saying, come on, mommy. She just love her mom. This is so sad.
Y'all ready?
Please, mommy.
Yeah, I'm not. What? Yeah, I am gonna have a great fucking time. Bye. Carry over to a good shop.
Here's the secret trick my groomer uses to
This is an advertisement, y'all. Sorry.
make nail trim stress-free. I'm about to show you the hidden damage happening.
Carry over to a good shop, baby. Yes. Why? Because you're gonna be in the pool. Because you're gonna be in the pool. Look, you're gonna have a good time. Yes. Come on, everybody's inside.
And one of the last videos posted before this tragedy has the caption, Mama gotta have a life too. Dr. Wilson, is this relevant for the case? Is this something that investigators, prosecutors, perhaps defense attorneys will look at and use?
Oh, I mean, prosecutors might try to use it, right? I mean, they probably will hope that a jury has seen these images already, hope the news picks it up. But I don't think it's directly relevant to the state. I mean, if there's other information that comes out, if there's child abuse.
This is just a lady, you know, it goes back to, you know, the Bible saying women's purpose is to have kids. No, it's not. It's not their purpose. And some women are not compatible with that lifestyle. So basically what happened is she gave her life to the devil, so that didn't help the situation. But it sounds like even prior to that, see, the thing is with these type of women is they want the man. So see, when things don't work out with the man, they suddenly don't want the kids no more, and it's just not right. You know, now me, you know, I raised my sons as a mother without the dad in the home most of their life, but I love kids. So the dad, me getting rid of the dad or getting the dad out the home doesn't make me not want my sons or my daughters, okay? But a lot of these kind of women, the reason they're having kids is to keep a man. And so when there's no man around, they realize how much they hate the kids, and it's just not right. So she reminds me of one of those kind of women. She had 4 kids. That's a lot of kids. I mean, it's too bad she didn't realize she didn't like kids, and she wanted to be an occult member and join the satanic occult and worship the devil before she had kids or after she had the first one. But she has all these kids, and now she understands that she ain't cut out for what the Bible tries to make it seem like all women are cut out to be mothers. It's not true. All women are not cut out to be mothers. So, and stop listening to people tell you that that's a woman's purpose to have kids. Because see what happens? It's too many women that kill their kids and beat them to death and do all kind of things to them, sex traffic them, for you actually to believe that just because somebody's a girl or a lady or what they call a female, she's meant for that job. Everybody's not meant for it. I think I was meant to be a mother, but I'm not going to join the occult and unalive and shoot my kids. This is definitely not discipline. The kids didn't do nothing to deserve this. So, you know, we just got to stop. The Bible, and she's aware of the Bible. You know, she believed that women was meant to have kids. That's why she had 4 of them. But she found out after she had the kids, she didn't like it. You can even tell when she's doing the recording, she just ain't into the family life. This is a very materialistic woman, and she valued her material things. Her house ain't shot up. When you see her beautiful house that she rented her own, that ain't shot up. But she put bullets in these kids' bodies. So see, she values material things over human bodies, and that's why I said a person that worships material things do not make good mothers, because they're gonna protect the material item. Because like I said, she ain't shot up her house, but she shot up her kids. Now a woman can be a mother and see the brain says sounds like your ex-wife. Oh, your ex-wife was like that? Not meant to be a mom, huh? Yeah, it happens. So is that what you're saying? Your ex-wife was like that? Yeah, so that's what it sounds like the brain was saying. But and you know, this wouldn't apply to, like, you know, I talked about this in other videos when I was in my ex marriage. You know, I only was married legally one time. My ex-husband, we went through a horrific custody battle. You know, when I say people aren't meant to be mothers or fathers for that matter, I'm not talking about people that are good parents and they lost custody because they went through divorces and stuff. So it's certain situations that don't apply to this. Okay? But I'm speaking about, like, me. It's just, for me, I'm a good mother. I'm a decent mother. Isaiah always says, my oldest son says, you're a decent mother. Daniel has just been so kind to me, you know, and Elijah has been getting more respectful over the phone and stuff. He's moved out, but this lady, Miss Romelis, is just not meant to be a mother. Thank you so much for the comment, the brain. And so this is a gentleman sharing his experience, you know. So yeah, so listen to this.
Use allegations. If there's allegations tied to these specific events or pictures, they're kind of like timestamped or time captured, that could be relevant. But these are out of court statements that don't seem to have anything to do with her quality as a mother. I mean, these are things that, you know, I have a lot of friends that are single mothers, and a lot of them, they'll have their entire Instagram child free. Right? This is their fantasy. Like, not that they don't love their kids, but they have a lot of stress in taking care of these kids on their own. And Instagram is about them and bigging themselves up and being able to look glamorous and just have that kind of single, sexy woman moment. Right? And the kind of F them kids statement is a thing that's really common, at least in people around my age, right? It's kind of just.
No, that ain't common. I disagree with this psychologist. That is not normal in the Black community, especially when a child is 3 years old, stuff like that. It's not normal to get on Instagram and even jokingly saying F these kids. That's demonic. And so the psychiatrist or psychologist, this gentleman, he's making you feel like things that are not spiritual and unhealthy. He's normalizing it. You know, so don't listen to that. It's not normal for no woman to get on no Instagram and say F the kids, and one of them 3. And the oldest one she shot was like 13 years old or something like that. It's not normal. So but that's the thing, psychiatrists, they're not all spiritual people. He may see people do it, but if it's so normal, why she shoot her kids? It's not normal. It's a black flag and a red flag is what it is.
My age, right? It's kind of just this notion that you get to be a human being too, but they can be misconstrued, or they can be really deeply held beliefs that, no, I don't give an F about my children at all. I do wish they were dead. I do have resentment toward them. So, I mean, we have to be able to talk.
Yeah, and the psychologist is pointing out the other end of the spectrum, which could mean that the person actually do mean it. But I don't think it's really normal to say it.
these statements to at least a pattern of events that underlie and say that this is her deeply held feeling and aren't just kind of out of court hearsay type of moments.
Right, tied to this kind of intent to kill. I talked about the fact that Romulus's posts tended to feature these expensive items like purses, sunglasses, cash.
Yeah, she had a lot of expensive items posted, sunglasses, cash, stuff like that. And remember the guy, Mr. Seymour, Dwayne Seymour, he taught her about financial and guided her in the financial and spiritual things. And this is why he was teaching her to worship the devil, so the devil could reward her with these material things. But the side effect to that is the devil is also gonna make her feel like human beings have no importance no more, including her own kids. So there's that side effect of worshiping material things.
The search warrants that were filed by Montgomery County deputies, they kind of give us insight into how she may have come by that cash. So the warrants have a black and white photo of a brick home on Spear Valley Lane in Porter, Texas. And in addition to requesting photos and videos of the inside and outside of the home to be put into evidence, the warrants, they list items that deputies wanted to get their hands on inside. That includes all electronics that can store data like DVR systems, cell phones, tablets, computers, SIM cards, hard drives, any equipment that can be used to print, copy, scan, produce, alter any paper item, any and all items containing identifying information for any purpose. And we'll get to why in just a second. But Dr. Wilson, in situations like this, where a person is accused of such horrific crimes, what are the limits on what investigators can seek with warrants? And what do you think might be going on here?
Well, yeah, I will tell you what. When I look at a murder case, I'm generally not thinking I'm going to find a mastermind criminal of fraud, right? So these are completely, generally different types of people that commit these two different crimes, unless a person that does get murdered is also involved in this kind of fraudulent scammer activity. But when you're looking to create a search warrant, you're looking to find evidence that is tied to the crime that you believe has happened, right? Couple different types of warrants you can get. You can get a warrant because you believe that a crime is afoot.
And they're gonna find satanic stuff when they go in that house. They just are. I know it's there. Okay.
You can get a warrant because you believe a crime has already happened, and that kind of evidence itself is going to be disappeared, harmed, and might perish because it could be something that's biodegradable. We don't know, right? But you have to list in that warrant the things you're hoping to find with particularity. So it tells me that when they have these lists of items that they're looking for, they've gotten some information or an inkling about these things somewhere else. Because what does that have to do with shooting 4 children? That is a strange, attenuated connection. So that tells me that officers already had an inkling that some other things were going on. So I'm wondering, what did she say in the interview? You know, what was found in the car, in her purse, on her person, on her phone, perhaps, if she was not represented by counsel and silly enough to give her phone to the police. Where did this inkling come from for the police? Because it seems to me very clearly that this woman, aside of allegedly murdering her children, allegedly, she's really a smart criminal businesswoman. If she's able to pull all this off, get all this information, have such money, I imagine what she could have done if she would have did these things the right way, got an MBA, went to school, started her own business, and be able to really provide for her kids. So I'm wondering, you know, what is behind?
Yeah, but even if she would have tried to do it the right way, if Miss Romelis would have tried to do it the right way, it don't matter if she still was gonna become a satanic worshiper. Okay, so if she's gonna be worshiping the devil, it doesn't matter what else she does. The devil is going to take it all anyway. See, if you worship the Lord give you more. But if you're going to worship the devil just going to take it all away eventually.
Behind this, how'd you get into it?
If you got hit,
this is a commercial, y'all, so please be patient. Hold on.
What is behind this? How'd you get into it?
Let's expand upon that a little bit, because we should note that the search warrants, they also indicate that there was a dog that was, quote, abandoned at the residence that's now under the care of animal control. These warrants also reveal that deputies were concerned about a person that could be in this home as well, because the warrants state at the time of unit's arrival at the Spear Valley Lane location, the oldest child of Romulus, a 17-year-old, was unaccounted for, as this child was not located in the vehicle with the 4 other victims. Now, eventually, deputies, they breached the door of this home. They wanted to look inside, figure out if this 17-year-old was inside, and if so, was this person okay? No one was found. I want to talk about some of the items that were found inside that house. So the paperwork says that during an initial search, investigators found evidence of a large-scale identity fraud scheme, okay? So this is what we were talking about. Quote,
So the identity fraud scheme. So remember when I talked about in part 1, where Mr. Dwayne Seymour, he guided her into financial and spiritual things. So this is one of the financial things, but the spiritual things is the demonic worship. Okay, so he taught her how to be a scam artist and rob, basically, and to do it for the devil, so the devil could bless her with houses and all these material things. And it worked for some time. But look at the ultimate tragedy that comes out of worshiping the devil, because now she's like possessed by the devil, and she done shot all her kids up, causing 2 of them to die, and we still don't know where the 5th child is at.
About, quote, I observed there to be a large amount of social security cards and other identification documents containing identifying information of numerous individuals. This includes social security cards, U.S. treasuring checks addressed to this location with different names contained on the checks. The counterfeit identification documents were in various stages of manufacture, bearing different names, states, and photographs. These items are believed to be connected to criminal activity, but outside the scope of the initial warrant for the
Thank you so much for the like, Shaw.
residence. Some identification cards had photographs of Oninda Romulus with names of different individuals. These items were located in an office inside the home that also contained multiple shipping labels, phones, computers, laptops, printers, and other devices. So in total, investigators gathered up a staggering amount of potential evidence. Fox 26 Houston reports that court documents list out items which include 31 social security cards, 33 ID cards, 15 credit cards, 15 packages of blank checks. Dr. Wilson, going back to you, if all of this is true, you mentioned it before about how they might have got to it. Is this now going to be a separate case? Are they going to separate the killings versus potential financial fraud?
There will probably be the same case, just different charges, right?
Okay.
And when you have a warrant, you're supposed to list the specific things that you're looking for. And I think the word we use in criminal law, I'm going to talk this part in a minute, but it's with particularity, right? You can't just go on a fishing expedition. But the rule also is, if you go into a home and you see evidence of another crime, it doesn't have to be a home office, wherever the warrant is, and you see evidence of another crime that's in what we call plain view, it's fair game.
I wish stuff like this did not happen. I just wish it didn't happen at all. But I don't have the power over everything, and I don't have the power over none of these people. But I just wish that kids didn't get shot. I wish that people didn't give their life to Satan and join these occults and do these demonic rituals. I just wish this stuff did not happen. I wish it was like, I wish Earth could be like a heaven. I really do. But that's not reality. The reality is this stuff does happen, and it will continue to happen.
Right? And so they went into that office within this building or home or what have you, looking for this young man. And they saw all this evidence of another crime. And so that's fair game there. But yes, this is going to be part of the same case. And that's going to be difficult for an attorney because a lot of us specialize. So maybe you specialize in murder cases, but now you have this maybe, I don't know what type of fraud or how many different types of fraud is going on here. I wouldn't feel equipped, right, necessarily to take on the fraud case, but I feel more comfortable with the murder case. And of course, some people are best athletes and can just say, hey, reasonable doubt's reasonable doubt. But these are going to be the same case, probably with an assorted team of attorneys if she can afford it, or hopefully our public defender service down there has a really highly qualified team.
That's a really good point. And I will tell you, the search warrants, they also indicate that there was a Tesla with a Georgia license plate that was parked in the driveway when the units got there. And background records show that Romulus previously lived in Georgia. Now, according to investigators, a surveillance camera from across the street apparently showed multiple people coming out of the home just after 2:30 a.m.
And there's other signs, like if you go back, I'm gonna put in the description the paternity court episode. And remember, that was originally filmed like 13 years ago, even though it will say 3 years ago. That's not the original film date. So hold on.
On Saturday, October 4th, with some of the subjects being, quote, small in stature, with a Georgia license plate that was parked in the driveway when the units got there. And background records show that Romulus previously lived in Georgia. Now, according to investigators, a surveillance camera from across the street apparently showed multiple people coming out of the home just after 2:30 a.m. on Saturday, October 4th, with some of the subjects being, quote, small in stature, consistent with children. They apparently got into a car next to the Tesla, drove away. The warrant requested access to the Tesla's camera system, the storage, in order to gather information about the people who might have left the home that night. The investigator providing details for the warrant noted that it can take several days, maybe even weeks, to gather this much electronic.
This is what I was going to say. Okay, if you look at her now compared to that paternity court case, and this is not to talk about nobody, but I just want you to understand the signs. So when you see people going into like obesity and morbid obesity, that's an emotional problem right there. They're comfort eating. They maybe feel with some stress and anxiety. So she has more weight on her, noticeable weight on her now versus when she was on paternity court. And you may say, well, okay, well, that was 13 years ago. Now, she wears some flashy clothes and stuff, but she gained more weight, But hey, in 13 years, you could do that. Did she gain the weight at a fast pace? No. But it just shows a sign of unhealthiness. That's all. It's not healthy, and it can show, even just gaining 50 pounds or more can show her stressful emotional state. That's all I'm saying. Now, these material things that she had, she was dressed real classy and flashy and stuff like that. But I'm still going to notice the weight gain. See, the material things, all the fake eyelashes and all the fake hair and all the fake, all the nice clothes and, sexy stuff she had on, I'm still going to notice that weight. So she's already under stress because she's covering up instead of fixing the root of the problem. So she's comfort eating because she's gained weight. She's much more bigger than she was when she was originally on paternity court. She was chubby on maternity court, but now she's what I would call obese or more into her obesity. Is she morbidly obese? I don't know. I'm not sure what her height and weight is, but she's definitely bigger than she was 13 years ago. She's changed her facade. She looked more prettier and natural and elegant when she was on paternity court. Now she's gone into this competition and these materialistic things, and this new mindset that she's taken on over the last 13 years has caught up with her, and I could see it in her. And her total spirit has just changed. She had, even though she was being manipulative and lying and stuff, when she was on paternity court, Miss Romella's, when she was on paternity court 13 years ago, there's a totally different spirit that's taken over her. And like I said, I prophesied that it came from Mr. Seymour, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, guiding her into financial and spiritual guidance. Unhealthy. The only word they didn't add onto that was demonic and unhealthy. So I'll add that. Mr. Seymour, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, guided Miss Romelis into demonic and unhealthy financial and spiritual guidance. Because now we know what the financial guidance was, right? Scams. She got tons and tons of people's social security numbers. They social security cards and they names and stuff. This is bad, y'all. And ultimately, she became so possessed that she shot the 4 kids, and we still don't know where the 5th one is at.
Electronic evidence, Dr. Wilson, we talk about electronic evidence all the time, how maybe in today's day and age, it can be a lot more difficult for someone to hide criminal activity or to get away with a crime. I mean, a Tesla in and of itself is almost like a computer. It's a very different kind of operating.
They're not going to discuss the spiritual activity, though, that went on in the way that I am. You know, they want to cover that stuff up, so it just keeps happening.
Machine. It's a very different kind of how it can store information. I'm curious what we can expect when we talk about electronic evidence.
That's a commercial, y'all. I apologize.
Talk about electronic evidence.
Well, I mean, Teslas are really particular. I have a Kia EV9, and I love the car because security features are so great and there's so many cameras. I have a friend who recently, I believe, had their Tesla, someone tried to steal it, and the person was on camera because the Tesla was yet recording, right? So when these things can act as surveillance devices in and of themselves, you have a problem here. But of course, when we're trying to get subpoenas for electronic devices, with the Tesla, it might even be as hard as kind of with a cell phone. So do you need to get the subpoena to the Tesla company? Are there certain encryption ways that you can do to encrypt your data with your Tesla? How do you actually get into the cars? There's a lot of questions there. And oftentimes these companies don't want to give you the data, even though there might be a murderer or a serial killer or a rapist on the loose, because the way they sell themselves is, look, this is your privacy here. And they're selling the notion of privacy and convenience. So someone like Tesla, we've seen this with Apple in the past, with the FBI, just hands over the data, just hands over their surveillance without any type of real fight. It cheapens in the eyes of a lot of consumers the experience and the product that they're buying. It feels like you can't even have, the so-called right to privacy in your own home, in your own car, what have you. And of course, we know with the vehicle, you have a reduced right to privacy as well. So I think there are a lot of issues there, not necessarily with just a legal piece of the subpoena and getting that information, but the kind of battle with the company that is looking also at their bottom line, their brand, their reputation.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we talk so much about ChatGPT and how there's what you put in there can be potentially used in a criminal case and how technology advances and we talk about privacy. But I will mention this. There is another strange twist to this case. So while deputies at a news conference wouldn't discuss any custody issues surrounding Romulus's children, Romulus herself was featured on an episode of the TV show Paternity Court. Yes, so according to the Daily Mail, the question of who the father of an 18-month-old...
And remember, I did the reaction on the paternity. I found out she was on paternity court, and I ended up searching for that paternity court. So I did the reaction on that already.
Child, who that father was posed in a 2013 episode. Now, it's unclear if that child was one of the victims of the case. I will say the ages do line up for it to be 13-year-old Acario.
And I'll answer that. Acaria was the victim. So that child that was on the paternity court, that was one of her 4 kids that did die from her shooting them. So Miss Romelis killed Acaria. So they're saying they don't know, but I went and watched the video, and so that 13-year-old or 15-year-old matches that age, and that's the same name of the murder victim. So Acaria, that baby boy that was on the paternity court, he's now dead because his mom joined the occult and became possessed and unalived him. So I'm answering that question that they're not answering here. He's deceased, okay? So I did my research to find that out, okay?
When it comes to other details from Romulus's background, Fox 26 Houston reports that the Fayette County Sheriff's Office in Georgia confirmed to them that Romulus was arrested in 2022, charged.
And that's the good thing about watching small channels, because when you're watching some of these reactions and commentaries, you're like, well, I wonder, did he die? Now you know. So it's always going to be something here that I share that they may not have shared, okay?
Misdemeanor DUI of drugs, failure to maintain her lane, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. The outlet reports that it appears she entered a guilty plea to the DUI charge. The prosecution dropped the other 2 charges. Dr. Wilson, before I let you go, any way that could play into the case? You know, we talk about prior bad acts, prior history. Anything like that we should be considering in this investigation or this potential legal case?
Well, I would think not necessarily the marijuana possession or, driving while under the influence of weed. No offense to my friends in Atlanta, but I think you could throw a rock in Atlanta and probably hit someone driving under the influence of weed. But in terms of, that TV show was really interesting to me because it makes me wonder, is this person, is it in conjunction with the Instagram, is this someone who is looking for notoriety? Is this someone who's trying to become kind of reality TV type of person? We know those paternity case court TV shows are all about getting your name out there. A lot of it's fabricated. So I'm wondering, is she trying to?
I don't think at that point, when she was on paternity court, I don't think she was trying to get her name out there. I believe she truly did not know who Aquaria or Aquario's father was. And she was trying to find out who the father was. And at that time, Mr. Seymour, one of the potential fathers, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, the gentleman that I prophesied, brought her into the satanic occult and guided her into that lifestyle, which he's no longer in the house with her. So this is what people like that do. They guide you into the demonic lifestyle, then he jumps ship, and then he leaves her with the mess, and then ultimately she's possessed and she shoots all of her kids, and we still don't know where the 5th one's at. Okay, we don't know if that one's been shot and buried. We don't know where this 5th child is at that she has. And that son, I think, son or daughter is supposed to be about 17 years old, but I think that's a son. They don't know where he's at. Okay. So fair use, y'all.
To create a bigger image, a larger than life image for herself. With both that and this tax issue, is this a motive? Is this why she needs to get rid of the kids potentially, so that she can be by herself, be a celebrity, live her best life? I mean, that's something to look in.
She had decided that she didn't want to be a mother. Even outside of her joining the satanic occult or being coached and guided into that and accepting it through Mr. Seymour, she it's just one of those situations, like I said before, all ladies are not meant to be mothers. So X that out. You believe in that part of the Bible. The Bible is very old, y'all. All women are not meant to be mothers. It's not true.
Be by herself, be a celebrity, live her best life. I mean, that's something to look into. It's not dispositive of that. It's not evidence, but it's a theme, right? It's something to keep in the back of your head. But yeah, the marijuana, I wouldn't as much worry about that. It doesn't really have a connection to many things, besides maybe, being a single mother and trying to de-stress and making some bad decisions.
Marijuana, with the way they make this marijuana now, it does mean something, okay? It's a lot of chemicals in this marijuana. And it twists the brain up. And her adding other drugs to it potentially, I don't know what all she was on, but marijuana within itself for the Black culture, you will notice this common denominator. They on marijuana, they murdering. For the Black culture, it's just better not to be on marijuana. Because this new marijuana is not like the old school natural marijuana. They got all these chemicals in it, pesticides in it, y'all. Pesticides are in some of this marijuana. It's just horrific. So it's Black ladies and Black men are murdering by the countless numbers just on marijuana. Please, it is affecting the Black race. It just is. Don't listen to the psychiatrist on that.
decisions. But I would wonder, what is the motive here? And does this connection with Instagram and the bags and the cash and the TV shows and perhaps Atlanta itself, does that portend a kind of desire, right, to be free of these children, to have a kind of celebrity profile, to live an alternative life, right?
Yeah, and going back to the human aspect of this, let's just end on this point. It is.
The psychiatrist is right on that. She did want to be free of the children. And one of the ways she shows that is when she joins the satanic occult. She wants to be free of the children. And material things are more important than the children. That's why she did not shoot her material things. That's the worst kind of mother or father you could have, where they value material things like it's human. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say this, like, okay, if I buy a leather couch or sofa, I prefer that leather sofa to almost look, if I have it 10 years, I want it to look like it did when I first bought it. Taking care of your material things and human people, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying if it's a material item, you're supposed to go destroying your stuff and making it raggedy. You know what I mean? When you are obsessed with material things, when I get to the point I just can't stop buying leather sofas. I'm collecting them and I'm worshiping them. It's more important than the kids. But I do believe in keeping material things in perfect shape. There's nothing wrong with that. That's called taking care of your stuff, okay? You bought it, you want to take care of it. But in this case, she joined the satanic occult, so it took over her. She became obsessed and possessed. She's possessed by the devil because she joined that. Okay, now, if she was somebody that loved the Lord and she gave her life to the Lord, she would have been more able to fight off the devil. But because she became a satanic occult member and let that Mr. Seymour guy guide her into that, then she was unable to fight the devil off. So the devil just could do whatever he wanted with her in this case. She's possessed. This is what I consider a case that she's possessed, but she did it voluntarily.
It is so tragic. It is so sad, because you think, what becomes of the two surviving children, right, who are expected to recover? Well, for now, it's not clear who's going to take custody of them when they are released from the hospital. This is according to Fox 26 Houston. A spokesperson for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, Melissa Lanford, told the outlet Child Protective Services is investigating this case, making
these kids should have been taken from her. They just should have.
Sure that the safety and well-being of the surviving children is our first priority. Ms. Romulus has had contact with CPS on one other occasion. Details of that interaction are confidential, but will be included in a public child fatality report when our investigation is complete. Dr. Wilson, such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for breaking down the legal intricacies of this complicated, sad.
Yeah, but the doctor doesn't go over any of the spiritual stuff. So that's why this channel is needed.
Disturbing case, and I look forward to having you back here on Sidebar.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just say one last thing. Toni Morrison was asked about survival, and she said, sometimes we don't survive in whole. We only survive in part. And that is my fear for these kids, the parts of them that survive. Thank you for having me. This was a great, but also very serious and sad conversation.
And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber.
They always got to present black men with a dress on, It's just so sad. Very, very sad. So I'm gonna see how this works, y'all. So I'm trying to update the notes on this live. Yeah, this stuff is interesting, y'all. As you get more and more into it, stuff just becomes interesting, you know?